For years, WebAssembly was the thing people talked about, but rarely actually used in production. The tooling was rough, the JavaScript interop was painful, the use cases felt niche. 2026 is different. WebAssembly 3.0 was finalized in September 2025. It brought native garbage collection support, Memory 64 which lets modules access up to 16 gigabytes of memory instead of 4, and WASI Preview 2 which added real networking and socket support. Every major browser now supports the full WebAssembly 2.0 specification. And Rust has become the de facto language for writing WebAssembly. Not by accident, but because Rust's memory model and zero-cost abstractions produce the smallest, fastest WebAssembly binaries of any language. For CPU-bound tasks in the browser, image processing, cryptographic operations, parsing large files, running ML inference, WebAssembly is typically 5 to 15 times faster than equivalent optimized JavaScript. That is not a marginal improvement. That is a different category. So in this video I want to take you through the complete 2026 picture. What WebAssembly actually is and why Rust is the best language for it. How to build a real WASM module from scratch with wasm-bindgen and wasm-pack. How to call Rust from JavaScript properly. How WASI opens up server-side and edge use cases. And how to optimize your binary size for production. By the end you will have built a working Rust WASM module that runs in the browser and a WASI module that runs on the server. Let's go. Before we dive in, I want to talk about Aarambh Dev Hub's partner, CodeCrafters, and this one I actually mean it when I say it is a good one. If you have been watching Aarambh Dev Hub for a while, you already know that we are all about understanding how things actually work under the hood. Not just using tools, but truly understanding them. Why does Redis work the way it does? How does Git actually store your commits? What is really happening when you type a command in your shell? CodeCrafters is built around exactly that same curiosity. CodeCrafters is a platform where you rebuild real developer tools from scratch. Things like Git, Redis, a shell, an HTTP server, a DNS server, a BitTorrent client, you actually build them yourself, stage by stage, in your own language. Every stage unlocks the next, and you can see exactly how far along you are as you go. Now the most popular language on CodeCrafters is Rust, and that makes total sense for this channel. If you're just getting started with Rust and want to learn it the right way, this is honestly one of the best approaches out there. Instead of reading theory or doing small exercises that go nowhere, you sit down and build something real. Something you have actually heard of. Something that exists in the real world. And that is when Rust really starts to click. This is not your typical tutorial platform where you just watch someone else code and feel like you learned something. You are the one writing the code, you are the one debugging it, you are the one making it pass each stage. That kind of active, hands-on learning is what actually makes you a better systems programmer, and I will be honest. It is genuinely a lot of fun. The challenges are used by engineers at companies like Google, Meta, and Shopify. And if your company has a learning and development budget, there is a very good chance CodeCrafters is covered under it, meaning it could cost you absolutely nothing out of pocket. Worth checking with your manager before you pay yourself. The link is in the description below. Check it out, and if you do sign up through it, you also directly support Aarambh Dev Hub, so thank you in advance if you do. Alright, now let us get into the video. Before we write any code, I want to give you a proper mental model of what WebAssembly actually is, because there are a lot of vague descriptions out there. WebAssembly is a binary instruction format. It is a compilation target. You do not write WebAssembly by hand any more than you write machine code by hand. You write code in another language, compile it to the wasm binary format, and then something runs it, a browser, a standalone runtime like Wasmtime, or a serverless platform. The key properties that matter in 2026 are these. WebAssembly is sandboxed, it runs in a completely isolated memory space. It cannot access the browser's DOM, the user's cookies, or the file system unless you explicitly give it permission through a JavaScript bridge. This makes it safe to run untrusted code. You could let users submit plugins written in any language and run them in wasm without worrying about them touching things they should not. WebAssembly is portable. The same wasm binary file runs identically in Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Edge, and any standalone wasm runtime. Compile once, run everywhere. This is not just marketing, it actually works. WebAssembly is fast, near-native performance. The browser compiles WASM to native machine code using a just-in-time compiler. The gap between WASM and native has narrowed significantly in 2026. Now why Rust specifically? There are other languages that compile to WebAssembly, C++, Go, AssemblyScript. But Rust has 3 advantages that make it the best choice. First, no garbage collector. JavaScript has a GC. Go has a GC. When you compile a language with a GC to WebAssembly, the GC has to come along with it. That means more binary size, GC pauses inside your supposedly high-performance code, and memory that the GC manages separately from JavaScript's own heap. Rust manages memory through ownership at compile time. No GC in the binary, smaller files, no pauses, fully deterministic behavior. Second, binary size. A minimal Rust WASM module is tiny. A minimal Go WASM module is megabytes even for a hello world because Go's runtime has to be bundled in. With wasm-opt optimization, a Rust WASM module with real logic can be in the hundreds of kilobytes range. Third, wasm-bindgen. This tool handles all the painful JavaScript interop automatically. Types, memory management across the boundary, calling JavaScript functions from Rust, exposing Rust structs and methods to JavaScript, wasm-bindgen generates all the glue code. We will see this in detail in the code. Let's set up everything we need. Open the terminal. First, make sure you have Rust installed. If not, go to rust.rs and install it. Then add the WebAssembly target. This tells Rust's compiler to be able to produce wasm binaries. The wasm32 part means 32-bit WebAssembly addressing. The unknown part means we are not targeting a specific OS. This is for browser wasm. Next, install wasm-pack. This is the tool that orchestrates the build, runs wasm-bindgen, and produces everything you need to publish a wasm package. And install wasm-opt for binary optimization. This tool from the binary-in project can reduce your wasm binary size by up to 40%. For WASI development later, install Wasmtime. That is everything. Let's build something real. Quick one, if you are finding this useful, hit the like button. It helps this video reach more Rust developers, and subscribe for more deep dive content like this every week. Back to the code. Let's build something practical. A Rust WASM module that does image processing. We will build a grayscale filter and a brightness adjustment function. These are exactly the kind of CPU-heavy operations where WASM genuinely beats JavaScript. Create a new library project. Open Cargo.toml. Let me go through this carefully because the configuration matters a lot for WebAssembly. The crate type with cdylib is what tells Cargo to produce a C-compatible dynamic library. This is what WebAssembly requires. The rlib alongside it means we can also use this as a regular Rust library for tests. wasm-bindgen is the core tool for JavaScript interop. It provides the wasm-bindgen attribute macro and generates all the glue code between Rust and JavaScript. JSSys gives us bindings to JavaScript's built-in types and APIs, things like promise, array, and function. WebSys gives us bindings to the browser's web APIs. We list exactly which ones we need in the features array. HTML canvas element and canvas routine2D are for reading and writing pixel data on a canvas. Image data is the type that holds raw pixel bytes. wasm-bindgen futures lets us bridge between Rust's async futures and JavaScript's promises, very useful when your WASM code needs to do async work. The release profile settings are critical for production. wasm-opt level Z optimizes for size rather than speed. LTO true enables link time optimization, which eliminates dead code across your entire dependency tree. CodeGen units 1 means all code is compiled together, allowing the most aggressive optimizations. Panic abort replaces Rust's default panic unwinding with an immediate abort. This removes a significant chunk of binary overhead that panic unwinding infrastructure adds. Now the src lib.rs file. Let me explain the important parts here. The extern C block at the top is how we call JavaScript functions from Rust. We declare the JavaScript function signature in Rust, mark it with wasm-bindgen so the glue code generator knows to wire it up, and then we can call it like a regular Rust function. The JS namespace attribute tells wasm-bindgen that this function lives on the console object in JavaScript. Each function marked with the wasm-bindgen attribute becomes callable from JavaScript. The grayscale function takes a mutable reference to a byte slice. These are the raw RGBA pixel bytes from an HTML canvas. We process them in chunks of 4, red, green, blue, alpha. The luminance formula weights the color channels according to how the human eye perceives brightness. The image processor struct is the most interesting part. By marking the struct and its impl block with wasm-bindgen, we tell the code generator to create a JavaScript class with the same name and same methods. From JavaScript, you can call new image processor wegged height, call methods like apply grayscale, and apply binaries 50 and get the processed pixel data back. This is the cleanest way to maintain state in a WASM module across multiple operations. Build it with wasm-pack. This compiles to WebAssembly, runs wasm-bindgen to generate the JavaScript glue code, and produces a pkg directory containing your wasm file, a JavaScript module, and TypeScript type definitions. The target web flag means we want output for direct browser use without a bundler. You could also use target bundler if you are using Webpack or Vite. Now let's write the JavaScript that uses it. Notice the await init call at the start. This is important. WASM modules load asynchronously. The init function fetches the WASM binary, compiles it in the browser's JIT compiler, and returns a promise that resolves when the module is ready. Everything after that is synchronous and very fast. The image processor class we use here, it was generated automatically by wasm-bindgen from our Rust code. New image processor creates an instance backed by Rust memory. The methods we call run Rust code in WebAssembly. The data crosses the JavaScript WASM boundary when we load pixels and get pixels. One performance note, crossing the JavaScript to WASM boundary has overhead. Every time you pass data across, there is a small cost. For our image processor, we pass the pixel data in once, do all the operations inside Rust, and pass it back out once. That is the right pattern. What you want to avoid is calling WASM in a tight loop from JavaScript. That boundary crossing inside a loop will eat your performance gains. Now I want to show you something that I think is the most exciting part of WebAssembly in 2026, WASI, the WebAssembly System Interface. WASI is what lets WebAssembly modules interact with the outside world, the file system, network connections, environment variables, clocks, in a standardized, sandboxed way. WASI Preview 2, which reached stability in 2025, added networking and socket support. This means you can now build real server-side programs as WebAssembly modules. Why does this matter? A WASM plus WASI module is smaller than a Docker container, starts in milliseconds, is fully sandboxed, and runs identically on any platform that supports a WASI runtime, Linux, macOS, Windows, or any cloud serverless platform. Cloudflare Workers runs WASM. Fastly Compute runs WASM. These are production-scale platforms. Let me show you a simple WASI program in Rust. Add the WASI target. Create a new project. Cargo.toml. No extra dependencies needed. Standard Rust I/O works with WASI automatically. src main-rs. Build it targeting WASI. Run it with Wasmtime. That outputs JSON with the processed input, its length and a timestamp. Standard Rust code, no modifications, running inside WebAssembly with WASI. The same binary would run on Cloudflare Workers or Fastly with 0 changes. If you are building something with Rust and WebAssembly and want to share it or get feedback, come join the Discord community. The link is in the description. We have a weekly Sunday study group where people share what they are building. The link is below. Production WASM binaries need to be small because they are downloaded by users. Every unnecessary byte costs load time. Let me show you the optimization workflow. After building with wasm-pack in release mode, your binary is already reasonably small because of the release profile settings we configured. But you can go further with wasm-opt. The OS flag optimizes aggressively for size. The OS run typically reduces binary size by a further 20 to 40% beyond what the Rust compiler already produces. For a module that was 200 kilobytes, you often end up under 150 after wasm-opt. There is one more trick worth knowing. If you have panic handling in your code and you have already set panic equals abort in your profile, you can also strip the panic messages from the binary. The strip equals true setting removes debug symbol tables from your release binary. These are useful for debugging but add significant size that production users do not need. If this channel has helped you understand Rust and WebAssembly, you can support it by buying me a coffee. The link is in the description. It goes directly toward the time spent building these projects and making videos like this. Thank you genuinely to everyone who already has. Let me close with the honest guide to where you should and should not reach for Rust WebAssembly in 2026. The right use cases are clear: compute-heavy browser operations, image and video processing, audio processing, cryptographic operations, data compression, barcode or QR code reading. Any of these in JavaScript will noticeably lag on large inputs. In WebAssembly, the same operations run at near-native speed without blocking the UI. Porting existing Rust libraries to the browser. If you have a Rust library for parsing a file format, processing data, running an algorithm, wasm-bindgen makes it straightforward to expose that to JavaScript. You get your Rust code in the browser without rewriting it. Serverless and edge functions. A WASM module is a much lighter deployment unit than a Docker container. It starts faster, uses less memory, and runs identically across platforms. For Cloudflare workers, Fastly, or any WASM native serverless platform, Rust plus WASI is the right stack. Plugin systems. Because WASM is sandboxed, you can load user-provided or third-party WASM modules into your application and run them safely without worrying about them accessing things they should not. This is how some developer tools and databases are implementing extensibility in 2026. The wrong use cases: do not reach for WASM for simple web pages, data fetching, DOM manipulation, or anything JavaScript handles easily. Adding WebAssembly to a standard CRUD web app does not make it faster. It adds complexity for no benefit. The overhead of loading, initializing, and crossing the JavaScript WASM boundary for simple operations can actually make things slower. The rule is simple. If your bottleneck is computation, Rust WebAssembly will help dramatically. If your bottleneck is network latency, database queries, or DOM updates, WebAssembly will not help at all. That is the complete Rust plus WebAssembly guide for 2026. We covered what WebAssembly actually is and why Rust produces the best WASM binaries, the full toolchain setup with rustup, wasm-pack, and wasm-opt, a real image processing module with wasm-bindgen, including the class pattern, how WASI opens up server-side and edge use cases, binary optimization for production, and an honest guide to when it is and is not worth using. If this video cleared up Rust and WebAssembly for you, hit the like button. It helps this reach more developers and takes 2 seconds. Subscribe if you want deep dive Rust content every week. Drop a comment. Are you using WebAssembly in production? Are you planning to? Or is there a specific use case you are considering? I read every single one. Check out the Gupti series if you want to see Rust running full stack in the browser through lib.rs. It is built on the same WASM foundation we covered here. The Agaya framework series goes deep on high-performance Rust backends. Both are in the description. Come join the Discord community, link in the description. And if you want to support the channel, buy me a coffee, the link is also there. Thanks for watching and happy coding.